Hello, 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 and hello. Happy Friday. Friday, 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 Friday. Woo, come on in here for this good old Freedom Friday teaching. Yes, 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 yes. Gonna give everybody a few minutes to get in here. And when you get in, tell me where you are and what is in your cup. Yeah, today I worked at the boutique. I worked at the boutique on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And why? Why did I almost walk out of there without my check? Was I don't think I was that ready to go home, but I sure did. Because she walked in, y'all know I hadn't been there but about 3 weeks, really. Like 2 weeks before Christmas, and then this is my first week back in the new year. And so she she tells me, as she thinks of it, other things that I need to know. And so she was getting my check ready, and she said, "Oh, Miss Karen, did I tell you that we empty the trash on Fridays?" I said, "No, ma'am, you did not." So she tells me where the trash bags and everything's at. And I go and I empty the trash, and she's getting my check, she's getting my money ready. And I tell you what, I had I didn't know where the big trash can was. And so I had put my check in my hand. And then I said, "Okay, where is the trash can?" She said, "Oh, it's outside down the sidewalk." I said, "Okay." Why did I put my check down, pick up the trash, and walk out with the trash and almost walked out without my whole check? Like if I'd have kept my check in the hand, the trash might not have got put out. Anyway, so, but needless to say, hey, Michelle, you know this the Patty Page. You know it is. And look, it came with all the bins. Like this is how it came. And I'm like, oh, this is cute. So I was like, I work at the boutique now, so I gotta look like something. I gotta look like something. So you know the drill. But where you tell me if you're watching live or on the replay. Number one, I forget to tell y'all that. Tell me if you're watching live or the replay. Tell me where you watch from. Tell me what's in your cup, and share the video and tag two people. Evangelize your role. Baby, the money is endless. And she took, "Miss Karen, did you get your envelope?" And I looked, I said, "No, ma'am, but I have the trash." So anyway, so Okay, so we are 5 minutes in, and so I am going to get started because it is Freedom Friday. Do you like wide brims or narrow brims, Michelle? Meanwhile, my name is Karen Booth, and I'm the baggage handler. And this is the Freedom Friday edition of Tea and Truth. We get a little bit more time, maybe a couple of questions if people have them. I told you a couple of days ago, be thinking about your questions, and then we can have a little Q&A if there are some questions. If there are some questions. If not, I'm gonna let y'all go and have y'all good weekend because it is 4:30 and look. Uh-huh. So this week we have been talking about how forgiveness kind of sets up in the soul and how the pieces of the soul respond to forgiveness. And this, I think, I'm gonna make this a part of my class too, because this explains some of the things that I say. In the class, this happens. This little, not little. This research that I have done has explained some things to me about how the mind and the soul behave. So anyway, and in my cup, I have green tea with elderberry, and I have peach tea, lemon juice and honey. Okay, so if you follow me for any time, then you know that I usually mention the soul some kind of way. It's your mind, your will, your emotions, your intellect, and your imagination. So this week we talked about the soul and unforgiveness. Didn't spend a lot of time on the emotions, which are part of the soul. Okay. Hey, TJ. Um, because what has happened is you're in a state of needing forgiveness because your emotions are emoting, right? So your emotions are important, they matter. They let us know that we've experienced something, and they are used that the feelings that we feel are usually the reason why we need to forgive the emotions that we have, right? So we're not so much fixing feelings this week as we are understanding how the whole soul, how the rest of the soul responds when the feelings have sent the signal that something has happened that we don't like. Okay? So, as I stated before, the soul, the mind, the will, the emotions that are already emoting, the intellect, and the imagination. Everybody has these. You might not use them a lot, but you got them. You got a mind, you got a will, emotions, you got intellect, you have imagination. Okay? So the mind seeks order through replay and trying to find closure. The will seeks protection through making boundaries. You know how you ain't gonna never. The intellect seeks an explanation by trying to put a meaning and drawing conclusions to everything that has happened. Oh, well, she just must be that way. This just how I am. Okay, I'm not, no new friends. Make those decisions with whatever information you have. No consultation with the Holy Spirit, nothing like that. But you really need to insert some forgiveness so we can kind of rein in all these pieces of us that's out here trying to make everything okay. They're doing what they're supposed to. These functions of your soul are doing what they're supposed to, what God designed them to do. He also designed us to seek. Hey, Ashley Chamba, how are you? He also designed us to seek Him to help put some, you know, put some control on that stuff, right? So now we are down to imagination. The imagination is your soul's preview system. It doesn't ask what happens. It asks, what we gonna do now? What we gonna do now, Willie? It wonders what should be expected next. So the imagination is the act or power of forming a mental image. Now, sometimes our imagination may be dormant. We don't we don't sit like we were with kids when we were kids and imagine, you 7 and you decide you're gonna be rich. You just don't even know how. That no way to figure it out, but you have in your head, you got a house, you got a swimming pool, you got 17 car garage and a car and all 17 of them. This is what we think about when we were 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? When somebody else was footing our bill. So, somewhere along the way, we may have stopped using it, but trust and believe you have one and it can be activated. So, how how does unforgiveness live in your imagination? Unforgiveness in your imagination predicts outcomes before they occur. Nothing has happened, but the soul is already reacting. This is how you cling on to the past. Based on what happened last time, this is what's going to happen this time. And that also keeps you in a state of fight or flight, because 9 times out of 10, if you're in a state of unforgiveness, it's because you were hurt. So you're not going to go, oh, this is going to turn out great. This is going to turn out this way, and if they do this, I'm gonna whatever. I'm gonna cut up. I'm gonna act a donkey. It's gonna be some furniture moving. Hey, Miss Anita. Nope, hadn't been on that long. Hadn't been on that long. We're talking about how unforgiveness sets up in your imagination. You notice the pad page, and so then when you stay in a state of fight or flight, you're always like this. You're making wrong conclusions about people and things and situations. And it may put you in a place where, your confidence is low because, oh, all this bad stuff is going to happen because last time I put in for a job like this, it's a new day, baby. But because you have that unforgiveness hemmed up in your soul, your imagination is now running amok. And it's a field in the blank for everything that's happened. So you're not gonna start the business. You're not going to apply for the next job. You're not going to uh, put forth the effort to chase whatever dream it is that you have. Whether it is to perform on Broadway, to go on Broadway and see a performance, you're not going to. Your confidence is just going to be all, yeah, I'm not going to do that, right? The imagination is a real thing, right? Even the Bible says, we take captive every thought and cast it down the imaginations. You already know that your imagination is gonna go yonder, right? So forgiveness, when you choose to forgive, and when we say forgive, we've talked about the definition every week, every day. To choose to stop letting your feelings, your emotions, be noticeably changed. Stop letting them run amok because of persistent ill will or anger or hostility towards someone or something that you have perceived to hurt you. Because your imagination has said, this is what's gonna happen. Your your mm, your intellect has made the conclusion that all people are gonna do this to you. Your will has set up these boundaries so you ain't gonna never. And your mind just wants order. All of these things are working together to create this. illusion, this place of feeling safe and protected. And if you let it stay, if you let your soul stay in that place too long, your soul now, because your spirit man is perfect, right? So we're talking about the soul component, the soul where experiences and life, when life gets to life, and for all those memories just land and be there and stay there and grow layer on top of layer if you don't do anything with them. If you don't take the time to say, I'm not going to let my feelings make me act this way or be this way, I'm not going to let them uh, run my life. Because oftentimes we think these emotions have the final say when we actually have control over whether or not we get mad. Like you feel the mad coming. I'm not saying you don't feel. I'm saying you don't let the mad choose your behavior. You don't let the sad allow you to do something crazy. Right? So what forgiveness does is okay, because God gave you the emotions, right? God gave you all the pieces of you. So if he gave you the emotions, he also knew there was going to be something that happened to set them off. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. So if he gave you the emotions, then he also gave you the gateway to let him step in and heal the emotions. And that is where the choice to forgive comes in. And when you say, yes, I choose to forgive, I choose to, the biblical, it's not a definition, but it's just in there. The biblical representation of forgiveness is just to release the debt, to release what you feel like they owe you, to release them. The parable of the unforgiving servant. The king forgave him the debt. He didn't forgive his fellow man of the debt. The king found out. The king called the servant back in. The king said, okay, well, you're going to be tortured forever. What he said was, you are going to be tortured until the debt is paid. But now he's tied up and being chained. They didn't just let it, they didn't do work release and you go out and work and then come back and be tortured. You're just tortured in there. So the point of that parable is that, unforgiveness results in endless torture, fight or flight. You're nervous. You might be depressed. You're anxious all the time. You're not doing the things that God said that you should do. You're tortured. If you've ever held on to unforgiveness, you know that it is heavy, it is tiresome, it is exhausting. It just makes life more difficult the longer you hold on to. So forgiveness opens the door for God to step in and do the healing process. Now, the healing is a process. I forgive you does not equal instantaneous healed of hurt feelings. I wish it did. It does not. But you got to give it a chance to work. I forgive you is not reconciliation. I forgive you is not rebuilding trust of the person that hurt your feelings. I forgive you is not weakness. I forgive you does not condone. I forgive you gives you an avenue to get back to peace. And once you feel the peace of forgiveness, when you get to that healed state, when you get to that place where you're not carrying that weight, when you get to that place where the burden is off of your chest of whatever it is that has hurt you, it makes forgiving people a lot easier. Are some forgiveness experiences harder than others? Yes. Does the healing from some of them take longer than others? Yes, does. Does God have to show you some things along the way in your path to forgiveness? If you let him, yes. But I can promise you, especially when they are family. Because you would think, we think this. They family, they should know this. Girl, why? Why should they know this? They should know they're wrong. Are you sure? Your crazy cousin isn't just crazy with you. Your crazy cousin is crazy. And life has life with them the same way lives with you. Even with parents. You you say, my mama should know that hurt. Don't forget that your father, is a woman, man, right? We think of them as parents. We don't think of them as people who had life and experiences and heartbreaks and problems and things. I'm sorry. Everything's off. Everything's off. I don't know why the delay is like this. Maybe it'll be better tomorrow. Maybe I'm throttled. I don't know. Um, but your family, men and women, males and females, people, humans, in addition to being your relations. And so when we think of it in that manner, then know that you shouldn't be thinking, ooh, they should know better. Because maybe they're holding on to some unforgiveness too. You never know. You never know. Forgiveness opens the doors to healing. It creates space where the future is no longer pre-decided by pain and where God can work without resistance. So here's my Freedom Friday reflection. Where has your imagination been predicting the future based on past pain? And that is that. And I wish I could make the delay not as long, but here we are. If you have any questions, I am open. I'll wait a few minutes or a few seconds because I know the delay is doing something. Selah. Okay, I'm going to get out your way. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to make some vegetable soup because it is raining and cloudy here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Y'all like, tag, and share the video. To the mighty replay crew, I thank y'all. To my live crew, I thank y'all. But not the two live crew, my live crew. I will likely take off Monday because it is a holiday. So I will see y'all Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Y'all have a good weekend.